Thank you for listening and watching today's show. We aren't here to tell you what to think, but to inspire and empower you to do your own thinking for better life results. We are being shadow banned, censored, canceled, and deleted simply for sharing our message. Go to contacttammy.com and always stay connected with us. At contacttammy.com, sign up for our latest report on health, freedom, and organic lifestyle. Text the word health to 833-838-1020 and get free access to our community and a chance to win free merchandise and products. Send me a quick message and become a supporter. There are many options available, and you will have a direct impact on keeping independent media healthy and growing. Go to contacttammy.com and let's stay connected. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Naturally Inspired Daily. If you have not yet become a member over on livenaturallyinspired.com, we'd love it if you join us there. Right now, you can join for free for 1 month by using promo code Tammy. That's TAMMY over at livenaturallyinspired.com, where you can get all of our content in one place. We are here to help people feel good so they can do what they love for longer. So let's get started with today's Health Watch. Inflammation, is it the precursor to disease or even allergies? Well, let's take a look at this article from mindbodygreen.com. The headline is inflammation at the root of your allergies? An integrative immunologist explains. I found this article really interesting because there are many things that overtax our natural stress response. Emotional stress at home or work, eating too much sugar or processed foods, skimping on sleep being just a few of them, says the article. When our stress levels run high, our brain starts telling our body to secrete hormones like cortisol and chemicals like histamine and other neurotransmitters. Several studies have shown that this can make us more inflamed, create more congestion in our nasal passages, and even worse in asthma. A study done on college students studying for exams show that allergic cells in their blood rose and asthma symptoms worsened during final exam week. Well, it's really interesting to me because it says in this article that, this can trigger a hormone response like histamine. Well, so can toxins in the air, right? With the toxins we breathe, foods that we eat, anything that our body interprets as a stimulant and then triggers inflammation. Well, this is brought to my attention because so many people are dealing with autoimmune problems post-COVID shots. We're seeing a rise in things like arthritis. We're seeing a rise in chronic fatigue syndrome and things of that nature, body aches, all this type of thing. And I started to wonder, is there a correlation between how much inflammation someone has in their body when they take on these shots and how they are able to deal with it? So that was really interesting to me. So I think focusing on an anti-inflammatory diet is always a good thing to do. Foods that cause inflammation are meat, eggs, dairy, oil, refined carbohydrates like white flour, and added sugar. And this is interesting though, because, usually meat becomes the evil doer of inflammation, right? The idea is that meat, especially red meat, causes a lot of inflammation. And it may not be the culprit that we think it is. Take this into consideration. If you eat a burger patty, on its own, it can spike inflammation levels in the body. However, if you eat the same burger patty with a little piece of avocado spread on top of it, it actually can lower the body's inflammation response to it. So I find that really interesting because this idea that our foods are all the foods available to us that are, out of nature, they work as a matrix in my mind. This is how I'm beginning to put the pieces together as I dive into a deeper level of knowledge for holistic nutrition, is that food actually has cofactors. Just like we know certain minerals and vitamin supplements have cofactors in order for them to work, just like turmeric works better with black pepper, the same thing occurs naturally in nature with our food. So if we eat beef, but we add a antioxidant, high fatty food like avocado, it lessens the burden of that inflammation factor in our body. And that is so fascinating to me. So there are other reviews that actually show a drop in inflammation occurs after eating wild game. So maybe the culprit isn't meat. And certainly maybe the culprit isn't meat in everybody, right? This is how complex nutrition is. It is individualized. What may cause an inflammation response in one person may not cause an inflammation response in another person. So getting back to these shots, I know I've gotten a couple emails from people that have now developed allergies to things like eggs and chicken. And so when I started looking into that a little bit deeper, I realized that eggs and chicken actually have a very high level of omega-6 in them, which contributes to inflammatory responses when they're eaten, right? So that was really interesting to me. Perhaps these people had a high level of inflammation in their body already occurring. And then once they've taken the shots, it's just kind of exploded those inflammation levels. So now when they eat high inflammation foods like chicken or eggs, they're developing an allergic response almost. It is quite interesting. And of course, these are just my own thoughts, but this is kind of how I work through things as I hear these anecdotal stories. But on the anti-inflammatory side for foods, what can we do about it? We can eat more anti-inflammatory foods. So consider adding blueberries to your diet, raspberries to your diet, turmeric, garlic powder, avocado, as we mentioned, nuts. Purple potatoes are absolutely just miraculous in their ability to lower inflammation markers. Walnuts, flaxseed meal, and cherries are also great. And keep in mind, when we are building a plate to eat, keep this matrix in mind. Am I offsetting some of the inflammatory foods that I eat? Am I working to do that? Because when we do, that is being a skillful eater. Unfortunately, some platforms censor the information in this show. Watch the rest of this episode by going to naturallyinspireddaily.com. Find amazing interviews with people like David Icke, Max Egan, frontline doctors, and more at naturallyinspiredpodcast.com. Connect with me directly at tammycuthbertgarcia.com. Support our amazing team. Help us defeat censorship and become a subscriber for only $5 a month at livenaturallyinspired.com. Find me on all social media platforms at connectwithtammy.com.